What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Today we're going to be doing a playthrough video with my personal teams in the treasure map versus Shirahoshi. This treasure map, honestly, it's kind of tricky, especially if you have not farmed the previous free-to-play characters, and a lot of people on my stream today were kind of complaining about the fact that 2x skill up is not active as soon as this treasure map went live, which I totally agree with. I don't understand why double skill up isn't live. People can't even max out their Clash Jinbe or their Coliseum Dogstorm, which are both very vital characters for this treasure map. I believe that it's going to be going live tomorrow, the 2x skill up, so hopefully you guys will be able to max out your characters, and then you'll have a much easier time in the treasure map. But once you do have those characters maxed out, yeah, I do feel like this specific map isn't too difficult. As I said, as long as you maxed out the free-to-play units, you're going to be fine. So before we get into that, I want to go ahead and quickly talk about the brand new treasure map character, which I've completely maxed out, which is Shirahoshi. She's an int cerebral striker. Her captain effect heals 2 times her recovery at the end of each turn as a captain, and then boost her own attack by 2 times, but then boost everyone else's attack by 3 times. So, in terms of a free-to-play unit, as a captain, she's just okay. I mean, the healing is nice, 3 times attack rainbow is fine, but only providing a 2 times boost to herself, not really a big fan of that. But as for her special, it's a 14-turn cooldown. She does have a limit break expansion, which means that she will get an additional cooldown. I don't really think using a limit break expansion on this character is really, needed though, or warranted, but 14 turns will halve damage taken and heal the crew by 8,000 HP at the end of each turn, for a variable amount of turns, depending on how many enemies that are available when you launch the special. So it means that if there's 5 enemies, you'll get 5 turns of half damage and 8,000 heal per turn. If there's 4 enemies, you'll get 4 turns of it. It's a pretty interesting special. She's not really going to see too much play moving forward, but for Garp challenges and for the upcoming super type Blackbeard, this character is actually not too bad for, and can see some synergy with. But overall, I don't think she's the best treasure map unit in the game. I don't think she's the worst either. She doesn't really have too many uses, but she's nowhere near the worst unit in my opinion. There are plenty of other treasure map units in the game that will see far less play comparing the Shirahoshi to. But anyways, let's jump into the actual playthrough of the treasure map. So you can see my points. Where am I? Just about to reach 4 million points. We will be reaching 4 million this treasure map run. And I've done my gold tickets. I have not done any of my red tickets yet. I'll be saving those once I reach 7 million points. I'll record all of them at once. And you guys will see the video of my rewards after we get our rewards from treasure map, which will be probably 2 or 3 days after treasure map concludes. But jumping into it, we have a pretty decent map here. Let's go ahead and pick up the treasure birds, of course. I'm not going to show you guys every little bit of the run. Once we reach one of the mini bosses and stuff, I'll probably just skip until we reach the final stage, because obviously, the first 6 stages of the Battle Rush bosses are very mundane, very plain, and just typical mob stages, which is not very interesting. We obviously want to talk about what the boss does, how to counter it. So yeah, we'll talk about the main boss stages once we get to them. But first of all, let's go ahead and get this Jinbe to come ahead and challenge us. And it's really odd, because normally when you have an intrusion boss, there's like a rock that blocks one of these pathways, and then on that first move, it would break open the rock so you can access this other pathway. But oddly enough, in this treasure map, there's no boulder or rock that blocks the path. The intrusion boss will just move along the map. So I don't know why they did that. I don't know if it's meant to be that way. Very, very strange, but either way, we'll move one more time. Unfortunately, it didn't really move too far, and we'll go ahead and challenge the intrusion boss against Jinbe. Now, against this intrusion boss, I would suggest building a team of predominantly strength and psi characters, as those are the only characters that will receive cooldown upon reaching, stage 1. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and pick up Kami here to help us locate more Kami friend captains, which will be nice. It'll enable us to get a little bit more points, and then we'll cycle over to my other team. So this is the team that I'm using. I've got Mihawk Perona as my main captain. I've got Kami as well as a sub. We've got the Raid CP9. Now this is actually the 5-star version. This is not the super evolved version. I do have both. Completely maxed out, and it is actually kind of nice to have both of them. I didn't realize how good it actually was to have them, but having both of the characters is really good in this map. I've also got Raid Jinbe and the new rare recruit Heracles. The supports really don't make that much of a difference, but if you have the V1 Akainu, he's going to be very, very good. And not only during this treasure map, that V1 Akainu as a support character is going to be very good for a lot of content moving forward, as especially when we get the super type meta with Snake Man and Sabo. Such a good support ability for those characters. But anyways, we have this Nami here. As I said, she reduces the cooldowns of strength and side characters, which is what you predominantly want to be bringing here. So stage 2, mini bosses against Nico Robin. Robin will go ahead and give us a full board of block orbs, and she gives us increased damage taken. So in this situation here, we're going to be using the CP9 special, which changes block orbs into matching, and that's mainly the only reason why we're bringing this character. Obviously, every character on this team is at least a 1.35 point booster or higher, so it's nice to have access to a lot of pretty decent point boosters. We'll go ahead and use the Kami special, which will go ahead and remove the increased damage taken. It'll go ahead and lock our orbs as well, so we can have a full board in the following turn. And it also gives us a 2.75 chain lock, and then we're going to go ahead and switch with Mihawk and Perona to get some type advantage, and also reduce the enemy's defense and attack value. But at this point here, we just want to attack, deal as much damage as we possibly can. Unfortunately, we don't really have like any type of boosters or anything on our team, so like our team doesn't really do that much damage against Nico Robin. But once we reach the final boss stage, we're going to have a lot of damage, because we're just going to launch essentially all of our specials. So Jinbe is going to go ahead and become a dex unit, so you want to be bringing strength units to have some good type advantage here, and we get paralyzed and inflicted with attack down, which is obviously not great. So we're going to go ahead and use the Heracles to remove the paralysis, and it gives our team a 2x orb boost, which is very good. Before we launch Jinbe, we're going to go ahead and switch into Mihawk so that our captain is strength, so that when we launch the Jinbe special, he not only removes the attack down, but also gives our strength characters a 2x color affinity. And then because we switched, we can go ahead and use the effect of Mihawk and Perona to give ourselves a 2x conditional boost against the negative debuff. And then we're going to go ahead and launch the Kami special for the 2.75 chain lock for this turn. You saw that we had the V1 Akainu launch there, which means that our strength characters will also get a 1.5x generic attack boost. So with everything being said, this is going to provide a pretty good amount of damage, and we didn't even hit a perfect there. I think with a perfect, it's very close to 10 million damage, and that was only just with one tap. So this is going to be lasting a pretty long time. The only real struggle, quote-unquote struggle, is going to be against Nico Robin, because we don't really have like any boosters against her. But from this point here, we are going to make our way along the map until we reach the next boss, which I think is going to be Fukuboshi. We're going to go ahead and challenge him along the way here, so I guess I'll catch you guys once we reach Fukuboshi. Alright, so we've actually encountered Fukuboshi in the mid-map right now, so we're going to go ahead and pick up the team that I use against him, which is going to be this one right here. It's a full strength team utilizing Clash Jinbe as my main captain. Remember, because the previous fight that we just challenged was the intrusion fight, we don't have to worry about overlapping characters or anything. As for characters on this team, I've got Legend Arlong for an attack boost with V1 Akainu attached to get us some matching slots, which is good. We've also got CP9, the strength CP9 once again, because he can remove Rainbow Shield off the enemy. We've got Inuarashi, or the Fortnite Dogstorm, for a chain lock, which is very good. And then just Inupe for just because he's a 1.35 point booster. So we'll go ahead and make our way to stage 7, and we'll talk about the boss once we get there. Alright, so we're about to reach stage 7 right here against Fukuboshi. So Fukuboshi, with his preemptive, he will give us a 5-turn chain coefficient reduction. So you can either bring a unit to remove that, or you can bring a chain locker, which completely counters the debuff altogether. And you'll see that there's 5 turns of % damage reduction on the enemy as well. So before we launch anything, the first thing that we would want to do is launch the Dogstorm special, because if our captain's Cerebral, we actually get a 2.5 chain lock, which is great. So that's good. Then we can use CP9, and CP9 will go ahead and become the captain, and we'll remove the 5 turns of % damage reduction on the enemy. But because we're on the mid-map, and because it's just the way it is, we're going to go ahead and launch the Arlong special, which does a lot of damage and is able to just KO the enemy. But in that situation there, you'll get a full board of orbs with the Akainu, and that's a lot of damage right there, the 2.5 chain lock and everything. And then we could actually launch the Jinbe special as well, which would then give us 2x color affinity to our strength unit. So no real problem there against Fukuboshi. So we're going to go ahead and make our way along the rest of this treasure map right here, and I'll catch you guys once we actually reach the final battle rush. Okay, so the final battle rush is here. First of the bosses we're going to take on is Mamboshi. With this one, it's again a pretty simple boss in my opinion. So the team that we're bringing is mainly centered around bringing quick units. We're going to be using Raid Douglas Bullet as our captain. with 5+ CP9. We've also got Treasure Map Dofi and Smoker on the team, which provide really good boosts. And then the final character is just Mr. 2, because he's a 1.35 point booster. He's boosted on a Douglas Bullet team, and that's the main reason why we're bringing him. There's no real reason to bring him. He's just a unit that will give us more points. But we'll go ahead and jump into this, and we'll see you guys at Stage 7. So moving into Stage 7, the final boss fight against Mamboshi, the main key component is to bringing this 5+ CP9 unit. Now, you don't have to bring him. He's just a really good unit to bring here because the enemy has resilience. You can see it's a 3-turn resilience buff. Now, there are a few different ways you can get around it. You could bring a poisoner like Colosseum Magellan, for example. You could bring an end-of-turn damage dealer, such as the switch ability of the other treasure map unit, Fujitora and Akainu. He would also work, or you can use the 5+ CP9 unit, which I am going to be using in this example here because he's a 1.35 point booster, giving me a little bit more points in this map. So with his special, it actually removes the resilience on the enemy, which is great. And then from this instance here, because everyone is driven on this team except for Mr. 2, Dofi will go ahead and give us the matching orbs, right? We can use the bullet special, which will give us the color affinity and a 25% health cut. And then Smoker will give our team a 2x orb boost and a chain boost. And you can see that already in this instance here, that's more than enough damage to take down this guy for a pretty good amount of time, especially, you know, once it gets to really high nav levels. We're not really going to see too many issues with this team moving forward, so that's great. So past Mamboshi, the next boss after it is Ryuboshi, who is also a strength unit. So, you know, you're going to have to build 2 different teams that are centered around bringing quick characters, which is fine. So as long as you have, you know, enough quick units to do that, you're going to be having to mainly build a team of quick units for Mamboshi and Ryuboshi. So speaking of Ryuboshi, the team that we're building against him is a quick beard team. So you guys saw some pretty crazy characters on that team, namely the Wedding Nami, which was available from the co-op Kizuna Clash versus Moria. Other characters, we've got Treasure Map Jack. We also have got Treasure Map Hawkins, which will give us some matching slots. Jack is a very important character, though, because he removes 2 turns of Blue Shield, which we'll talk about later. And then the brand new Shirahoshi from this treasure map, I'm also just running on the team just because she's a 1.35 point booster. And then Whitebeard is just a phenomenal captain that is also a 1.35 point booster. So, without further ado, let's jump into it, and we'll see you guys on the final boss stage. So, boss stage now against Ryuboshi. So, with all of our specials ready to go, this guy, he is not too challenging, but his preemptive gives us 5 turns of Despair, 2 turns with max sockets, and you can see that he also has 2 turns of boosted defense. So the way to get around that for this team is we're going to go ahead and launch the Whitebeard special, which will go ahead and remove the Despair that's inflicted. We will then use this special ability of Jack, which will get rid of the Blue Shield defense. And then in terms of increasing our damage, the Whitebeard special also provides that on top of removing the Despair. We'll also use the Hawkins to give us a full board of orbs, and then we can use the Nami special, which will provide a color affinity boost to our quick units. So once again, at this point, it's GG. That's a lot of damage, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, Whitebeard is a captain that likes to be at low HP, and unfortunately, the enemy doesn't really reduce our HP that much at all, so he won't get, like, a max multiplier unless if you bring someone else on your team that enables you to reduce your crew's HP. But, again, as I mentioned, like, that was a lot of damage right there, and we were nearly at full HP, so I don't really think it's needed to bring a unit to reduce your HP to get a slightly higher multiplier. You're pretty good just by running that. We've already taken on Fukuboshi, which would have been the next boss, but we took him on in the mid-map. So the next one is Neptune before we reach the final boss. Against Neptune, we're running Shank's crew as a captain. Definitely not required to bring Shank's crew as a captain here. If you don't have him, it's not a big problem. The other character that I would suggest running as a captain is Treasure Map Vivi, which I'm running as a sub on this team instead. Another very good character here is the new rare recruit Ivankov for special bind removal. But remember, if you're running Shank's crew as a captain, or even as a friend captain, that will already passively remove the damage reduction that's inflicted to your team. The other characters on this team are just for providing additional points, but Treasure Map Vivi and the new rare recruit Ivankov, very, very good characters for this fight. We'll talk about it more once we reach stage 7. So now we're moving into the final stage of this stage against Neptune. So Neptune's preemptive attack will give you 5 turns of special bind to your units, as well as 5 turns of chain lock, and I believe it's a 1.1 times chain lock, which is why we have this Vivi on the team, because her special not only removes 3 turns of that chain lock, but it also gives our team a rainbow 1.75 attack boost. Then when we launch it again, because of her double special activation, it will completely remove it and then make her attack boost a 2x rainbow attack boost. From here, we can launch the Ivankov special to change the orbs into matching, but as I said, if you've got Shanks Crew as a captain, like, you don't really need to bring Ivankov if you don't have the Ivankov, so it's not really that big of a deal. We can use Heracles for an orb boost as well, completely not required, and then we could use the Shanks Crew special to provide our better chain lock, or you could use, you know, the Shanks Crew special on the previous stage and carry that into the room if you wanted to, but remember, if you use the VV special, the Shanks Crew chain lock will get removed. So from here, this is a lot of damage. Let's see how much it is. Oh my, 24 million damage. Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Super balance. Nice. Okay, so Neptune, no problems. That's going to last literally an infinite amount of time. No problems at all. So the final boss against Shirahoshi, we are running a very, very similar team that we did at the start of this video against the Jinbe. We're going to be running a Mihawk and Perona team alongside the Treasure Map Rare Recruit Kami. So we'll go ahead and filter the Kami captains first. And actually, I will double check to see if I have any Hodis or Vanderdecken's friend captains. Oh, we got a Vanderdecken. We'll go ahead and grab him real quick. So that's actually pretty good. So we'll go ahead and launch from here. Yeah, let's do it. It is nice to actually have the 2 Kamis because it means we can get a chain lock over 2 different rooms with 2 Kamis, of course. But again, not really that bad because Vanderdecken, if I remember correctly, is actually an attack booster. So that's not too bad. We could use Kami on one turn and then use him on the other turn. Pretty sure he's also an attack down reducer as well. Alright, so from here we're just going to go ahead and deal as much damage as we can, get to stage 5. In this particular fight, some characters that I would recommend is definitely Colosseum Dogstorm. We're going to be using him on stage 6 against the Zoro, and we'll talk about why you'll need him on that fight just in a little bit. But another really good character, if you have him, is that new Sugofest exclusive V3 Rayleigh. He's very good for this fight because there's lots of situations where the enemy will have lots of defensive effects. And then obviously when you launch Rayleigh's special, it enables your Cerebral and Fighter characters to bypass defensive effects with their normal attacks. So it means that if you use V3 Rayleigh, you don't even need to bring like utility units to get through these certain effects here on the enemy side of the field. But here is where things get a little bit more challenging. So we got Zoro as the mini boss on stage 6, and this is where Dogstorm is very good because he puts up 5 turns of damage threshold. So by launching the Dogstorm special, we not only remove that, but it also gives our Psi and Strength characters a 2x attack boost for a turn, which is great. Then we'll go ahead and launch the Moria special. Kizuna Moria is such a good unit, dude. So it will give our Strength, our Psi, and I believe our Dex characters a 1.75 orb boost. It'll go ahead and change colored orbs into Strength and then locks orbs for a turn. And then at this point here, we have this little buff here. So this means that when this clock reaches 0 turns, it will apply another 1.75 orb boost. Very, very good effect. So from here, I mean, we could just attack. We don't even need to use the Kami special. Yeah, I'm not going to use the Kami special here. So let's go ahead and just attack and kill off Zoro. This will be more than enough damage. We could use the Kami there to get a chain lock there, but not really a big deal. But the final boss against Shirahoshi, this is where V3 Rayleigh will shine, because not only does he enable your fighter and cerebral characters to bypass defensive effects, but remember, also having type advantage is quite a good thing as well, because the character here is int. Shirahoshi actually runs away, which is nice, so you don't have to worry about that. But you can see that there is a barrier on the enemy, and there is also Rainbow Shield, 5 turns of Rainbow Shield. So to bypass that, we're going to go ahead and use the Halloween Brook, well, the co-op Kizuna Brook. He removes that. Another character you could use is the Raid CP9 character. You can use him there to remove the Rainbow Shield once again, but remember, Fukuboshi also has a Rainbow Shield you have to deal with. So yeah, that is kind of an annoying thing here, is that, you know, you need to have pretty much both of the CP9s to get around a lot of the really annoying defensive effects in this treasure map, which I'm not a big fan of. But from this situation, we can go ahead and launch the Kami, which will go ahead and give us the chain lock. We can launch the Vanderdecken to give ourselves an attack boost. And from there, we can go ahead and switch our Mihawk into Perona, which will apply the negative status to Luffy. and then use the special to get the 2x conditional boost. Now I do have a Kaino attached, which would give our strength characters an attack boost, but because we've got Vanderdecken here as a friend, obviously does not matter. So we're going to go ahead and just do our normal attacks. We have to hit 2 greats in order to break through the barrier. And then once we do, it's game over. GG. No problems whatsoever against Treasure Map Shirahoshi / Treasure Map Luffy, because technically Luffy's the boss, but you know, Shirahoshi's the character we're dropping, so either way. There we go. Treasure Map Shirahoshi, absolutely destroyed. Obviously, it helps having Mihawk and Perona as the captain, or V3 Rayleigh. If I did not have, you know, V3 Rayleigh or Mihawk and Perona, I would be using Shanks' crew as the captain, for my main captain against the final boss fight. That's what I would be doing instead. But either way, no problems whatsoever moving forward. And as I said, you know, when I get my rewards, I will be recording them, and you guys will be seeing those once the treasure map concludes and we have our ranking rewards. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I really wish you guys the best of luck in farming your treasure map Shirahoshi. Wishing you all the best, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today. And if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.